As the game is evolving more and more every season and coming to favor skill over grit, many teams are slowly moving away from tanks to smaller yet faster players to fill their rosters. Therefore, the enforcer role that used to be so prevalent in the game is now seemingly non-existent on several rosters to date. In this video, I'm going to go over a handful of teams that are currently the softest in the league. And with that, here are the top 5 softest teams in the NHL. Known around the league as one of the smallest teams on paper, the Habs and Result rely on their speed and skill rather than grit and size. While there are 7 players currently on the roster that are under 6 feet, Montreal does have several guys willing to lay the body. With guys like Jeff Petrie with an impressive 177 hits last season, and Ben Sherratt with 152 leading the pack, the Canadiens have 7 players in total with 100 or more hits, which is exactly why they're at the bottom of this list. Also, despite being vertically challenged, guys like Brendan Gallagher and Max Domi aren't afraid of dropping the gloves when need be. Ever since Ryan Reeves left the Burgh in 2018, the Penguins haven't really had a true enforcer. Sure, Rutherford did try to upgrade the roster size with adding Erik Gudbranson and Jack Johnson, but Gudbranson didn't last long and Johnson, sadly, is a lost cause. But before the pair of defensemen was even added to the roster, it became blatantly clear in the 2018 postseason that the Penguins were in need of a guy to keep Tom Wilson in check. With 7 guys on the team that are under 6 feet and 6 guys with 100 hits or more, and only 7 regular season scraps to date, Penguins could definitely benefit from a little bite to their game. Last season, this bunch of jerks thoroughly impressed the hockey world with their immaculate ability to keep possession, and for Leafs fans' sake, I won't go too far into detail. Regardless, despite being taller than Montreal and Pittsburgh, the Hurricanes don't have many guys on the roster that are consistently physical. And after what happened to Porsche Svechnikov last season, I can't say I really blame them. With 6 documented fights on the season, the Canes only have 3 players with 100 hits or more in the lineup, including Jordan Staal, Andrei Svechnikov, and Joel Edmondson. It's probably no secret that the Blackhawks are one of the least feared around the league for their physicality, as 7 players such as Alex DeBrincat at 5'7" and Patrick Kane at 5'10" are under 6 feet tall. But besides having 12 fighting majors for the season on record, the Hawks do have a few guys like Duncan Keith, Connor Murphy, and Olli Maatta willing to finish their checks after each having 100 or more during the last campaign. Even still, when it comes to stacking up against other teams in the league, Chicago is definitely behind in the grit department. I feel like most people watching this were pretty much expecting the Leafs to be number 1. Since much of their game relies solely on skill, rather than the physical side, Toronto is pretty much known around the hockey world as one of the softer teams in comparison. But even though many of their players don't spend their time in the corners, they did find some physicality from the Kings in Jake Muzzin and Kyle Clifford. Muzzin, who spent his whole season with Toronto, finished with 109 hits on the season, and unsurprisingly, he's the only player on the roster with hits in the 3 digits. And lastly, the team is in the single digits when it comes to settling the score, with 8 fights registered in the regular season.